Okay, so all you need for this is 2 pillows. I've got my pillow on my left hand side here, and then the other pillow is just out in front. And then from here, I'm just going to lie down on my left hand side. So I've got my heels out, and sorry, my heels are in line with my spine, but my knees are out in front, so they're just in a comfortable position. I'm just going to stack my hips. So I'm going to reach my top hip, my right sit bone. I'm going to reach it down towards my toes, and that's just going to lengthen out through my spine a little. Arms can come out on top of one another, and then your right hand or your top hand is going to come just behind your skull. And then from here, I'm going to keep my hips pointing to the front, and I'm going to rotate my shoulders so that my shoulders open up towards the ceiling. So I'm not going to push myself into this, just giving myself a little bit of rotation. Taking a breath or two in this position. Keeping those hips nice and stacked. And then slowly coming back. Now, you could stay with this, but if you are getting any tension through the hips, that's pulling in through the back, then perhaps you might want to grab a pillow, the other pillow, and pop it in between the knees. Sometimes this takes a little bit of pressure off the back as well, stacks the hips up a little bit easier. So same thing, we're going to do that open. We're just going to do this 2 more times. So just taking a few breaths once you get into that rotation position. So with the pillow in between the knees as well, it is kind of nice. You can kind of give the pillow a little bit of a squeeze. So as you squeeze the pillow, it'll help you keep your hips keep the hips pointing to the front, and your shoulders are trying to rotate up towards the ceiling. So both shoulders square. The shoulders aren't gonna be square to the ceiling. I'll be very surprised if they are without the hips coming with them. So it's not the goal, it's just to get that little bit of movement through that upper spine area. We'll come back, we'll take a breath, and then we're going to go the same again. So opening up and then just holding there and then taking a few breaths there. Still keep those hips nice and stacked. So you're thinking about that top sit bone, or that right side of your pelvis at the top, reaching down towards your toes, towards where your feet are. And then just taking a few breaths there. And then coming back through the center. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to take that pillow out. I'm just going to move to the other side. So now I've got 2 pillows. I can have this one in between my knees, and I can have this one on my head. Lying down on my right hand side now, hips are stacked, so heels are in line with my torso, and then my knees are forward. You can have the pillow there or no pillow, whatever feels good for you. Bottom arm can be out or tucked up, and then the top hand just comes behind the head. And then from here, we're going to rotate towards the ceiling, keeping those hips nice and stacked, and then taking a few breaths here. So in this position, we're not really pushing ourselves, remember, we're just like coming to that little bit of rotation, getting that little bit of rotation through that mid-spine area, and then slowly coming back, backing off that. You just want to go to where it feels good for you, right? But to get that true mid-spine movement, rather than letting the pelvis rotate with us, we're kind of keeping the pelvis nice and still. That pillow between the knees, you can do that wee squeeze and just hold that little bit of gentle squeeze on the pillow. You've got that little bit of connection through those inner thighs. That low tummy is a little bit connected as well with that squeeze, which is quite cool. Taking a breath or two there, and then coming back. And then one more time, we're going to open up, rotating around, and then just meeting your body where it's at. You know, we're not trying to push into anything with this little sequence. We're just trying to just give us a little bit of slight movement through that upper spine area. You might even be getting a wee stretch through the front of the chest if you're particularly tight through there, but that's just a bonus, really. All right, so we'll pull those pillows out, and then we'll lie onto our backs here. So just rolling over onto your back, and then from here, feet are flat on the floor. Now I've got my feet parallel, and my thighs are about hip distance apart, but from the inside of the hip rather than the outside of the hip. So from here, just lying flat on the floor, all you're going to do is rock your pelvis backwards. So your pubic bone is going to come closer towards your sternum, and your low back just softens down towards the floor. So don't push it down into the floor or anything. You've just gently connected your pubic bone towards your sternum, and you feel that lengthening through the low back. Now we're just going to come up into a small bridge. Now I do like to use my hands on my hips here for this exercise. I just bring my hands to the front of my hips, and I feel, okay, my pelvis feels level in this lifted position. Notice how I'm not up very high here, so I've got my rib cage is really closed at the front. I'm not pushing up, opening through the rib cage. I'm not arching through my low back. I just feel quite comfortable through my back here. If anything, I'm really thinking about the sit bone, so the base of the pelvis, being pulled towards the back of the knees, and my pubic bone, so the center of the pelvis at the front, is being pulled towards the sternum. So I'm kind of almost feeling like this, this connection from my tummy and the hamstrings and the glutes are working here. So I'm just going to hold in this position, and then without shifting the body, I'm just going to remove the weight from my right foot only. So the foot doesn't come off, the foot just, the weight just shifts from the right into the left. There's no movement through my body. You can't even see that my foot is unweighted. I'm thinking nice and connected through the left foot, left toes, left glute is working a lot. Left side is working for the whole of the right. I'm going to try and relax my right glute a little bit here without dropping my hips. So my hands are here as this nice little guide. Then I'm going to shift the weight without shifting the torso. So the weight just comes to the right now. I'm going to hold that weight in the right, try and relax the left, keeping the hips level. The right foot is nice and connected, all of those 5 toes on that foot. It's like the left foot is on a thin layer of glass or ice, and I don't want to break through, right? Holding there. I'm going to shift the weight to the left foot again. So unweight the right foot, relax that right glute, all of the weight in that left glute now. All of the work in the left glute, all of that weight in the left leg, holding there, keeping that pubic bone connected to the sternum, thinking of those, especially that left sit bone pulling to the back of the knee. Switch the weight to the right. So you shouldn't be able to tell which weight, or if I just looked at you, I wouldn't be able to say, oh yeah, she's got her weight in the right foot or she's got her weight in the left foot, because it's so balanced. I'm trying to stay nice and square through my pelvis, holding there for about 8 to 10 counts, feeling that work coming on, and then switching across to the other foot. One more time on each side here. So holding with that weight in the left foot now, keeping those toes and the ball of the foot nice and connected to the floor. Try and relax that right glute. Are you holding tension there? And then switch to the right foot. So keeping that stable, still pelvis, drawing your pubic bone towards your sternum. Try and relax your left glute. So should be lots of work and warmth coming into that right side. Holding there. Pubic bone connected to the sternum. We'll bring the weight back into even feet. So even pressure, even load through both feet, and then we'll slowly roll the spine down. So coming down to the bottom, bring one leg and then the other leg in towards the chest, and then hug your knees in towards your chest, and just let those glutes have that little bit of length. Just let that body relax. Taking a few breaths here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to roll over and come all the way over into a 4-point kneeling position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and your spine is just in that kind of centered position. So I want to think of connecting the front of the rib cage and the pelvis, and I feel nice and long through my low back. So in this position, once you've found your 4-point kneeling position, you're going to take a breath in and you're just going to float the feet and shins off the floor and then hold the spine still. And then gently place the shins down, and then I want you to really gently push the shins down into the floor. So it's about 20 to 30% of your total strength. As you push the shins down and the spine doesn't move, you should feel a little bit of a tightening through the low abdominal, so that transverse abdominal, or that corset type muscle that wraps around our whole torso, is connecting and holding on. As we push the shins down, you should feel that connection. We're just going to hold that little bit of pressure, hold that connection, and then take a few breaths into the side and the back of the rib cage. So see if you can send the breath as you breathe in to the side and the back of the ribs, but keep that little bit of pressure on. Next inhalation, we're going to float the feet and shins off. We take a breath there, and then we place the shins down again, and that same gentle pressure down. So just that gentle pressure and those little holding strong there, shins pressing down. It's like you've got a low tight belt across the front of your hips, and that low tight belt is just tightening one notch as you push those shins down. You've got that nice connection through the center. Think about the breath, breathing into the side and the back of the rib cage. Shoulders should be nice and relaxed. It's only about 20 to 30% of your total strength. You could press your shins down harder, but we're not going to. Feet and shins float off, and then again, push those shins gently down. So shins press down. Feel that low tummy tightening just that little way. Long through the whole spine, you've got that rib cage and pelvis just slightly connected. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Let's release that pressure, float the feet and shins off, and then bring the knees and feet together, and then from here, we're going to bring the bum back towards the heels. So if your knees don't fully flex, don't worry about it. You can come down. Let your head come all the way down. If your knees don't fully flex, you might be a little bit more here. But I just want you to see if you can think about just ever so slightly lifting your tummy away from your legs, just allowing that low back to lengthen just a little bit. So just thinking about scooping the tummy away from the legs, drawing the belly back, letting that spine flex. Come back out of that, and we'll come forward. And then you're going to turn so you're on your right. Now what happens is, yep, right side. Okay, back to that right side, down onto your elbow here. And then from here, the hips stack. The elbow is on the floor. My elbow is a little bit further away than my shoulder. And then my left hand is coming onto the floor in front of me. So similar position as that book opening that we did right at the beginning. My heels are back in line with my sit bones and my knees are forward. And then from here, my hand comes down onto the floor, and then I'm just going to lift up. So that underside waistline lifts up, but in particular, that underside hip is going to push up here as well. I can keep my hand down on the floor the entire time, and we're just going to hold here for about 8 to 10. Now, if it is all in the shoulder, you might have to adjust your arm a little bit. So if your elbow is too close underneath you, too close to your legs, then you're going to start to feel it a lot through the top of the shoulder. So you want to feel it more underneath that armpit area for the shoulder. And this hand also can be on the floor helping. We'll come back down. Just take a moment there. And then we're going to come back up again. We're going to come back up into that side plank again, lifting up through that underside. But this time I'm going to just ever so slightly turn my torso so my shoulders are down. I want to think my ribs and the front of my hip on that right side is staying connected towards one another, and I should really feel, so for me, that right underside waistline is working here, especially through that side of the tummy. As I slightly roll forward, my hand is still on the floor. You can have the fingertips down or tented up, whatever feels good for you. Today it feels better with my fingertips flat, less tension, holding there. That underside hip's going to lift up, and then come back. Let's do the other side. So elbow not too close in, right? So you want to have your elbow a little bit further away than your shoulder. And then what are those called? Heels in line with the sit bones, knees are out and forward. Hand to the floor, lift up through that left underside waist. But really think about that left side of the hip, right? So that's the part, the left glute, the left side of the glute there, lifts up and holds up. The shoulder is working, yes, but you've got this little bit of connection through that left lowest rib and the left front of the hip. So we've got that little bit of connection there. The hand can be on the floor if you need to, dented up or flat down. So you can be using both arms there to take a bit of load if you are a little bit weaker through the shoulders. Holding there, and then we're going to come down again. Taking a breath in, and then we're going to go up again, but this time we're going to slightly rotate the shoulders and the torso forward. Oh, I'm going to come off my mat, so I'm coming forward from here. So just let that top hip be a little bit further forward than the bottom hip. The hand can stay on the floor. Think about drawing your left lowest rib to your right hip, holding there. We'll hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we come down. Okay, so that could be it. That could be all you do today, but I'm going to do another round of these. So if you want to do another round with me, it's just going to make it better. So back onto that right hand side, head on the pillow. Oh, is this the one we did first? I can't remember now. Who cares? Doesn't matter, we'll do both of them. So knees together like that, or if it feels more comfortable for you, knees are on the pillow, heels are in line with your sit bones, knees out the front, arms out the front, or one arm tucked up, one hand behind the head here, and then we're just going to open the chest towards the ceiling, and we're going to hold here. Squeeze the pillow in between the knees and just take a few breaths in this position. Just trying to get that little bit of movement through that mid-spine area. So the low spine should be nice and still. Come back to the front. Take a breath there, and then we open again. So keep those hips nice and stacked. Reach that top sit bone or the base of the pelvis on that top side towards the heels, right? So you're lengthening out through the spine. And then we just hold here for a few breaths. You can actually have this hand to your sternum. I don't know where my microphone's gone. There it is, right under my chin. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So you can actually have your hand to your sternum if you like. Sometimes I like this. I can feel like I can kind of assist a little bit into the rotation and then come back. Take a breath, relax. And then again, reaching down through that top sit bone, rotating the spine, a little squeeze on the pillow. That activates those inner thighs a little bit. That deep core, so pelvic floor a little bit as well, holding there. And then just focus on that breath. Nice and relaxed. And then come back to the center. We'll come up. I'm going to leave that pillow there. I'm going to use him for my knees. Is that how I did it? Yep, I don't know. Doesn't matter. One on the knees, one on the floor, whatever. Head on the pillow, arms out in front, heels in line with the sit bones, knees out the front, hips are stacked. Okay, I'm going to go back to my sternum because that felt really good. More so than, just wanted to be nice and relaxed. Yeah, so if you are like it's tense with your, or uncomfortable on your shoulder or anything like that, just make it really comfortable. Just on this exercise here, in this movement, we're just looking for that rotation, just that gentle rotation through that mid-spine area. I'm going to keep those knees just that little bit squeezing together or squeezing against the pillow. That's going to activate those inner thighs just that little way. Just hold there for a few breaths, and then we slowly come back. Relax, let that underside waistline drop down, that hip come towards the shoulder, and then stack those hips again, reaching away and rotating around. Really gentle. It doesn't have to be, the furthest you've rotated around. Just enjoy the movement, just that little bit of movement. Sometimes less is more. Come back through the center. Take a nice little breath. And then we're going to rotate again. So that's maybe what I'm going to call this video, less is more. Because on days like when you're feeling like you just need a little bit of movement, this is a really nice, I'm not making these huge movements here. But man, this is just exactly what my body needs. Was that 3? Let's do one more. May not. Rotating around. Sorry, you can fast forward it if it was 4. This is the 4th. And just go with how your body feels. Pause, maybe like, oh my God, I love that rotation. Pause it and just be like, nope, I'm doing more. Okay, so from there, now we go onto our backs. And we're going to do that bridge one. So feet flat on the floor. So I've got about, my knees, my feet don't want to be too close to my bum. So make sure that they're, in comfortable position. My knees are in a 90-degree angle. There we go. Hands beside the hips or on the hips. So you can just feel that pelvis just gently rock back. And then we're going to roll up into that bridge. So it's a low bridge. Pubic bone connects to the sternum, sit bones to the back of the knees, and then just holding here. If you are feeling it quite a lot in the back of the leg, you may need to move your feet a little bit closer to get towards your bum. Sliding the feet a little bit more in will get it more up towards the glutes. And then having your feet a little bit further away will get more in the back of the legs. We kind of want something that's even today. So even that 90 degrees that I thought I was being so clever about was actually too much for me. Toes connected to the floor, all 10 toes. So from there, you're going to shift the weight without shifting the body. So just move that weight to the left leg and then no weight on the right. See if you can relax that right glute without dropping the pelvis. Keep all the weight on that left side. Holding there for about 8 counts. Keep that pubic bone connected to the sternum. Keep breathing. Ribcage is softly closed at the front. So if you're coming up too high, you're going to start to feel this through the low back. You should feel it through the glutes, back of the leg, hamstring. Switch the weight to the right leg. Keep those hips nice and level. Unload the left foot. All of those 5 toes down, pushing down so you feel that nice connection through that whole foot as well on that right side. And then have you relax that left glute. I always like to keep them on a little bit, but I've always got to tell myself, turn off. And then just hold there. We're going to switch our weight across to that left side again. Going to the left, keeping your pubic bone connected to the sternum. Relax that right glute. So working through that left side now, all of those, I want to say 10 toes, but we've only got 5 toes on that left foot, hopefully. Maybe you've got 6. Apparently I know a person who knows a person who's got 6 toes. Holding there. Relax that right glute. Drawing your pubic bone to your sternum. Switch the weight to the right side, so very light through that left foot. All those 5 toes on that right foot connected to the floor. Ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, center of the heel, that tripod of the foot as well. Holding there. And then we switch to the other. Weight goes to the other. Relax that right glute. Get that nice connection through that left. Oh, I'm going to get cramped. Quickly switch to the right. Drawing your pubic bone to your sternum. Holding strong there. Of course you can lower down, but holding there. Switch to that right side, last one, holding strong, drawing your pubic bone to your sternum, sit bones to the back of the knees. And then coming through the center, slowly lowering down, and then hug your knees, one and then the other, in towards the chest. So I'm holding behind the legs here. You can hold over top of the legs if your knees don't mind that. I'm just trying to get my thighs close towards my chest and just allow the back of the legs to relax. Taking a few breaths here. And then we're going to bring one leg down and then the other, roll onto your side, and then flip ourselves over for our 4-point kneeling. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and then your spine. Just find that little centered position through the spine. So you've got that not into an arch, not into flexion, but maybe you could just do a few of those because that might feel quite nice. And then find that centered position. So you feel long through the low back, a little bit more connected from the rib cage to the pelvis. So kind of trying to create a little bit of connection through there. And then just gently push the shins and the tops of the feet down towards the floor. So your shins and the tops of the feet might not look exactly like mine. They might look a little bit more like this. If you've got tight tibialis anterior, or the ankle joint doesn't like to do that. So it's not about that. It's just about that pressure. They don't have to actually touch, but there's the sensation of pushing them down. The action of pushing them down should give you that deep core connection. Then we take the shins off, floating them off, keeping the spine nice and still, and then pushing down again. So that gentle pressure, 30% pressure. It doesn't have to be super hard. If you are pushing down super hard, you're going to feel that a lot through the front of the legs, through the hips. We just want that gentle connection through the low tummy. So it's like that little low tight belt across the front of the hips, like really low, like late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know. Early 2000s, I don't know how old I am, but you know, those really, really short, low-waisted jeans, with those big studded belts I used to wear. Float the feet and shins off. Maybe you're too young for that. Maybe you don't know. Maybe that wasn't your style. It was mine though. Push those shins down. Low tight belts right across the front of the hips. It tightens that little bit. You keep that little bit of pressure there. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Float the feet and shins off. And then we'll bring the knees and feet together. You can sit your bum back towards your heels, however far it goes. Oh, actually, you've got this pillow. If your knees don't like to flex, you can sometimes just come down to here, right? So you can just get to that part. Otherwise, here, just allowing the bum to drop down towards the heels. Taking a few breaths. As you take a few breaths, see if you can send the breath right down to the pelvis, right down to the back of the body, right down the bottom there. And we've got our little side plank. So we come forward. I am doing it backwards this time, I think. Elbow on the floor. So remember, elbow not to, just a little bit further away than your shoulder. Hand flat on the floor there. Same position, heels and knees stacked with the heels in line with the sit bones, or the pelvis, or the torso, and then your front top hand is on the floor. And you're just going to lift up through that underside waistline. So that left side for me is lifting off, and I'm thinking about that side of the hip. So that's the part that's coming right up, and that's the driver. That's the main strength bit there, right? Everything else is working as well, but if you've got that up, it just makes it so much easier. You can hang out here all day. We're going to lower ourselves down, take a little breather, and then for this one, it's exactly the same thing, but as you come up, you're then going to just let that top hip come forward. So I like to lift my feet off here as well. I'm just resting on that underside knee and then holding there, keeping that underside lifted. Let's put the work a little bit more into that front side of the tummy for me. Holding there. I've still got that pubic bone connected to the sternum, so you feel long through the low back. And then we're going to lower down, and then we go to the other side. We're almost done. That was 2 rounds. Depending on how you're feeling, you might want to do another one. So you could rewind the video. Elbow a little bit further forward or a little bit away than your shoulder. Heels in line with the sit bones, knees out the front. So, and then we're just going to bring that hand down to the floor and then lift the bum up. So underside waistline is lifting. It's that side of the hip that's lifting up. And then we just hold here. Think about that little connection from that underside. Hips are nice and lifted from that underside. Hand can stay down there. Head looks down as well, so there's not too much tension through the neck. And then we'll come down. And then we can go back up again. But this time we've got that little hip forward. So actually I've got to move on my mat a little bit for this so it's not uncomfortable. We're half on the mat, half off the mat. Definitely a little bit more comfortable for the knee if you've got a nice soft mat underneath. You've just got that little rotation forward, holding there. Holding there for another 2 or 3 counts. But it's a breathe count, so it's really long. And then we'll come down. Okay, hopefully we're feeling a little bit better through our spine. You might be feeling a little bit connected through the glutes, through the hips, that whole lower kind of torso area. Gently, just gently explore a range of cat-cow. So where you're lifting the front of the hips, you're rounding the spine. You can let the head drop down and then unraveling, lifting the tail. Seeing how that is feeling for you. If it feels really good to go into one way, go for it. If it feels really not good to go into one way, don't go for it. Just see how it feels. Don't force anything. Just enjoy the movement. Sometimes a little bit of a wag of the tail here as well is maybe just what you need. Sometimes it is not. No way, I'm not happy. I'm not wagging my tail. But hopefully, after that little bit of movement, you are a little bit more happier through the pelvis and the spine. And hopefully, if it does make it feel better for you, then do it again tomorrow.